The alien patrol fleet moved in silence along the edge of Coalition space. Their ships were thin and elegant, built for speed and precision rather than endurance. To them, war was something controlled and distant, fought with clear rules and clean retreats. That belief was about to break. Commander Jiho stood inside the scanning chamber of the lead vessel. He was calm and experienced, his movements slow as he watched glowing data lines form in the air. The patrol had detected an unknown object drifting near a border zone that had been quiet for decades. No registered signature matched it. At first glance, the object looked crude. The hull shape was thick and uneven, scarred with old damage. Large sections were dark and unpowered. It did not move. Jiho assumed it was debris or an abandoned transport. Engineer Hana adjusted the scan array and leaned forward. "It is not debris," she said quietly. "The mass readings are too balanced." Jiho nodded. "Identify origin." "Human," Hana replied after a pause. That alone caused mild interest but no fear. Humans were known, but they were not considered a major threat. Their ships were loud, inefficient, and emotionally driven. The Coalition viewed them as stubborn survivors, not masters of war. The scan deepened. Almost immediately, warning symbols bloomed across the display. Jiho frowned. "Explain." "The internal density," Hana said. "It makes no sense." She expanded the image. Layer upon layer of internal structure appeared. Where a normal warship had clear divisions between living space, engines, and weapons, this ship showed overlap. Systems were stacked on top of each other, reinforced by heavy frames and dense materials. Jiho felt the first hint of unease. "Increase resolution." The scan pushed deeper, peeling back the hull like skin. The outer armor was far thicker than standard human designs. Beneath it were shock layers, radiation barriers, and thermal buffers. It was built as if the ship expected to be hit again and again. Why so much protection? Jiho asked. Hana shook her head. "Even our capital ships do not have this level of reinforcement." Another officer, Sora, stepped closer. "Perhaps it was built for extreme environments." "Or extreme combat," Hana replied. The scan continued. Life support systems appeared, but not where Jiho expected them. Instead of being centralized, they were spread across the ship in sealed clusters. Each cluster could operate alone. If one fails, others continue, Hana said slowly. They planned for internal collapse. Jiho's expression hardened. Ships were not supposed to plan for collapse. They were supposed to avoid it. The scanners reached what should have been crew quarters. There were none. No open spaces. No relaxation zones. No large sleeping chambers. Instead, there were narrow reinforced compartments. Each was sealed like a bunker. Beds were bolted into the walls. Storage was minimal. Everything was secured. They live like this? Sora asked. Or fight like this? Hana said. Jiho felt his breathing slow. He had studied human psychology, but this was different. This was not emotion or recklessness. This was preparation. The scan flagged another anomaly. Gravity systems. Hana highlighted the data. These gravity levels are adjustable far beyond human norm. For what purpose? Jiho asked. Training, she answered. Silence filled the chamber. Jiho stared at the display as the meaning settled in. The ship was designed to increase gravity within internal sections, forcing the crew to move and work under crushing force. It was not a feature for emergencies. It was built into daily routes. They train inside their own ship, Sora whispered. They suffer inside it. Hana corrected. The patrol crew exchanged uneasy glances. Another layer of data unfolded. Weapon systems. Jiho expected external mounts or clearly marked compartments. Instead, weapons were woven into the ship's structure. Energy conduits ran alongside support beams. Firing chambers were embedded between bulkheads. The weapons cannot be removed, Hana said. They are part of the skeleton. Jiho clenched his hands behind his back. Meaning, if the ship breaks, it still fights. Yes, the scanners detected old damage marks. Many, deep ones. Some sections showed repairs done over existing scars rather than replacing them. They did not rebuild, Sora said. They patched and kept going. Jiho felt something cold move through him. The scan pushed deeper, cautious now, as if the machine itself sensed danger. Then it found life signs. Hana froze. Commander. Jiho turned sharply. Confirm. Multiple biological signatures, she said. Human. How many? Few, Hana replied. Very few. Jiho stared at the drifting ship on the display. Status? Alive, Hana said. Active. The room fell silent. This ship was not abandoned. It was waiting. Jiho ordered a passive scan only. No signals. No probes. He did not want to wake whatever rested inside. The scan revealed power flowing in slow cycles. Engines were damaged, but not dead. Systems slept and woke in shifts, conserving energy. They ration everything, Hana said. Even time. Jiho felt his confidence crack. Humans were not supposed to endure like this. They were meant to burn bright and fail. Instead, this ship had survived long enough to drift here. A final scan layer revealed something Jiho did not expect. Psychological design markers. The internal layout forced constant alertness. Narrow corridors limited blind spots. Every path could be sealed or turned into a defense point. Even the medical bays were armored, positioned to function during battle. This is not a ship meant to keep its crew comfortable, Hana said softly. It is meant to keep them alive when everything else fails. Jiho looked at the silent image of the human warship. What class is it? He asked. Hana checked the data. Unknown. It does not match any recorded human model. Jiho understood then. This ship was not designed to impress enemies. It was designed to survive Hell. The commander straightened. And the scan. Hana hesitated. Commander, we have not accessed the core. Jiho shook his head. No. He did not want to see what lay deeper. As the scan powered down, Jiho filed his preliminary report. His words were careful, but honest. The human warship was not dead. It was enduring. And that realization, more than any weapon, frightened him. The alien scanning team hesitated as they pushed deeper into the human warship. Every layer they peeled back revealed a complexity that seemed impossible. Commander Jiho and his officers exchanged tense glances, their previous confidence slipping away. What they had thought would be an abandoned or simple vessel was instead a labyrinth, built to survive anything. Hana focused on the gravity training chambers. These rooms were narrow, lined with thick floors and reinforced walls. Data indicated that gravity could be adjusted to levels far beyond human normal. These were not emergency chambers. They were meant for daily use. Crew members moved through them as part of their routine, training their bodies to endure pressure, to continue fighting when others would collapse. Sora ran simulations of how a human could survive in these conditions. The results were disturbing. Any other species would have been crushed, bones broken, systems failing. Yet the humans inside these ships thrived. The aliens realized that these were not just physical spaces. They were machines to forge warriors. Medical bays were another revelation. From the scans, it was clear that each bay was reinforced like a bunker. Damage could occur anywhere on the ship, yet the bays would remain functional. Automated surgical systems were integrated into the walls, ready to operate without intervention if the human crew were incapacitated. Supplies were not luxurious, but efficient, built to sustain life long past the point that aliens would expect survival. Jiho turned to Sora. Explain this design. Why build medical bays that can operate under catastrophic damage? Sora shook her head. Humans do not rely on luck or perfect conditions. They prepare for everything to fail and still keep fighting. As the scan continued, they discovered more areas of the ship repurposed for war. Hallways had embedded traps, defensive points, and observation nodes. Every corner could be turned into a killing zone. The layout was not random. Every design choice forced movement, decision, and vigilance. The ship itself was a weapon, not merely a platform for weapons. Jiho felt unease growing. His mind could not reconcile the efficient brutality of the design with what he thought he knew about humans. They had underestimated them entirely. For all their supposed inefficiency and emotional drive, humans had turned their entire lives into preparation for survival and combat. Hana pointed to a new set of data. Energy conduits are connected to bulkheads. Weapons are not removable. They are part of the structure itself. Jiho's eyes narrowed. Meaning what? They cannot be taken out or disabled without destroying the ship, Hana said. Even if the ship is damaged, it can still fire. The alien officers stared at the readouts. They could not imagine a species designing a vessel in which the destruction of its own structure would still allow combat. For their kind, a ship was only as good as its armor and weapons. If damaged, the crew retreated. Humans did not retreat. Sora pointed to old repair marks. These are not full replacements. They patch over old damage and keep it going. Jiho felt a cold realization. They accept harm as normal. They do not rebuild for comfort. They rebuild to endure. The team continued scanning, this time detecting life signs. Initially faint, they became clearer. There were humans still alive on board. They were few, but they were active. Commander Dayan was in command, and even from the data alone, his calm focus was apparent. This was a leader who expected crisis and met it with steady decisions. Lieutenant Mera oversaw engineering. She was moving in short cycles, sleeping in brief intervals, while ensuring the ship's systems remained functional. Every moment not spent resting was spent repairing, maintaining, or preparing. There were no luxuries, no breaks. Their lives were wholly dedicated to survival and combat readiness. The aliens were horrified. For the first time, they saw humans not as reckless, but as relentless. Their minds were engineered by choice and circumstance to endure extreme conditions. Psychological analysis revealed that humans actually thrived under stress, expecting danger and reacting calmly, almost joyfully. In situations that would drive other species to panic, Hana's voice was low. They have planned their lives around constant pressure. This ship is not a weapon alone. It is an extension of their mentality. Jiho leaned back, staring at the glowing display. He had seen war before, but this was different. Humans had no illusions. They built ships to endure, and they built themselves to endure. They expected disaster, adapted to it, and thrived despite it. Every scan revealed another layer of preparation. Storage areas were minimal, but optimized for essential resources. Each room had multiple redundant systems. Control centers were reinforced multiple times over. Even the navigation areas were layered with protective shielding that could keep them functional under direct attack. The aliens realized that humans considered loss, damage, and danger as constants, not exceptions. Do they sleep? Jiho asked. They rest in cycles, Hana said. Even their rest is built around readiness. The patrol crew was silent. Each alien knew that a human crew could fight continuously far longer than their own species could manage. The human mind and body had been pushed to extremes that defied conventional logic. And the most frightening part was that they did it willingly. This was not punishment. This was Choice.SOR pointed out another anomaly. The ship has no clear command center. Control points are distributed. Any section can take over if another is lost. Ji-ho frowned. Distributed control. They do not rely on a single leader or point of failure. Every human is part of the ship's survival. Hannah added, even the corridors are designed for combat. They force movement and alertness. There is no idle space. Even traveling through the ship is part of their defense. The alien officers felt an unfamiliar unease. This was not just a ship. It was a human philosophy embodied in metal, circuits, and gravity. It was a machine designed not for comfort, not for efficiency, but for endless endurance. Ji-ho finally spoke. We assumed humans were simple, inefficient, and emotional. We assumed they would fold under pressure. We were wrong. The scanning team paused. The warship drifted silently in the void, scarred, battered, and alive. Its very existence was a statement of human resilience. Every repaired damage, every gravity chamber, every redundant system screamed a message. Humans do not give up. They do not surrender, and they do not die easily. Hannah closed her eyes briefly. It is not a weapon in the way we understand. It is survival made perfect. They fight because they must, but they endure because they will not allow themselves to fail. Ji-ho nodded slowly. He had never felt fear like this in his career. Not from weapons, not from threats, but from the raw, unyielding endurance of a species that refused to die, even when the universe was against them. The scan ended, but the image of the ship remained etched in their minds. A human warship, not built to dominate, but built to survive, and in that survival, to terrify those who thought they understood war. The aliens now realized that humans were unpredictable, relentless, and beyond conventional measurement. As they left the drift field, Ji-ho issued a silent warning. Underestimate humans again, and it would not be a battle they survived. The warship had shown them what humanity was capable of, and it was far beyond what any had imagined. The alien fleet maintained a cautious distance, as their scanners picked up stronger signs of life from the human warship. Commander Ji-ho could no longer deny the reality before him. Humans were not only surviving, they were active, disciplined, and focused on their mission even under impossible conditions. That Captain Dayan was the central point of control. Though the ship's distributed systems allowed the crew to operate independently if needed. Data streams revealed his calm decision-making under stress, a trait that seemed almost unnatural to the alien scanners. Every choice was calculated, every command precise. He did not panic. He did not hesitate. Even as the vessel bore old damage and partial system failures, he guided repairs with steady efficiency. Lieutenant Myra was equally remarkable. Scans showed her constantly moving from one damaged area to another, making adjustments, performing maintenance, and monitoring power levels. Sleep was taken in brief cycles, just long enough to remain effective. Every human aboard the ship had trained their body and mind to continue functioning at maximum capacity for long periods without rest. The aliens studied crew routines in detail. Each human had multiple responsibilities and rotated through different stations, allowing for constant operational readiness. Even in damaged sections, life support and medical systems functioned independently, sustaining those who were injured or incapacitated. This redundancy made the ship almost indestructible in human terms. The aliens realized that the human definition of survival extended beyond what they could comprehend. Hannah highlighted a specific observation. Notice the psychological conditioning. Every crew member is calm under stress. Their nervous systems are operating in high alert, but without panic. They are wired for sustained combat and survival. Ji-ho stared at the data. They do not see danger as something to avoid. They see it as something to meet. The alien officers could not ignore the scale of human endurance. Simulations had predicted survival for only a fraction of the time, yet the humans continued with normal efficiency. Systems designed to fail had been patched and reinforced repeatedly. It was not just luck or skill, it was training, planning, and an almost obsessive commitment to never allow the ship to be defeated. Even the smallest details spoke volumes. Food and water were rationed perfectly. Every resource was allocated for maximum efficiency without waste. Every crew member had a defined role in monitoring and maintaining systems. The ship itself was a living, breathing instrument of survival, and its human crew were its perfect operators. The aliens detected communication between the human crew, though it was sparse and functional. Words were short, precise, and directly related to operations. No unnecessary chatter, no casual conversation. Every exchange was about repairs, navigation, defense, or morale. Even speech was optimized for survival. Jiho felt a mixture of fear and awe. He had assumed that humans were impulsive and reckless, but these humans were methodical. They were warriors not because they loved battle, but because they had learned to endure. Every action, every movement was part of a long-term strategy: survive first, fight second, and never give up. SORA analyzed the distribution of crew activity. Even if half of them were incapacitated, the ship would remain operational. They have designed redundancy into every human role as well as every system. Jiho's jaw tightened. They are not a crew in the conventional sense. They are a network. Each individual is a node in the ship's survival matrix. Hana pointed out another aspect. They have survived for years in continuous combat readiness. Sleep, meals, repairs, everything is built around efficiency and survival. There is no downtime. They are constantly prepared. The aliens could not ignore the implications. For most species, extreme endurance and continuous combat would break morale or health within weeks. Humans continued indefinitely, thriving under stress, performing feats that alien science considered impossible. The ship itself, combined with the crew's conditioning, was an entity designed to endure assaults that would destroy entire fleets. Even the psychological impact was clear. The humans displayed no fear of imminent danger. They did not panic when systems failed. They treated damage as an expected condition, not a catastrophe. This resilience was coupled with problem-solving skills under pressure, a combination that was terrifying to watch from the outside. Jiho took a deep breath. Record everything. Make sure the Council understands the scale. This is not a vessel to underestimate. This is a species to fear. Hana hesitated, scanning the final layers. Commander, there is more. The humans are capable of improvisation. Even with damaged systems, they adapt and reroute operations. They learn as they go, continuously. Sora added, and they do not retreat. Even in severe damage, they do not disengage. They continue forward, accepting risk as a constant factor. Jiho felt the full weight of the revelation. Humans were unlike any species he had encountered. They were not simply survivors. They were relentless, adaptable, and unyielding. Every human aboard the ship reinforced the notion that the species would continue to fight, under conditions that would break any other. Hana continued to study the human crew. Even the youngest crew members are trained. Their movements, reactions, and decision-making suggest they have been prepared for this life since childhood. Survival is not an accident, it is a lifestyle. The aliens struggled to understand. For them, life was measured by efficiency and retreat when necessary. Humans measured life by endurance and perseverance. They thrived when pushed to limits others could not survive. Their ships, like their crews, were built not to win battles, but to survive wars. Jiho recorded a message to the Coalition Council, his hands trembling slightly. Do not underestimate humans. They are not bound by the same logic as other species. They endure what others flee. They survive what others perish from. And their will is absolute. This is a warship, yes, But more than that, it is a reflection of humanity itself. We must be cautious. The alien officers fell silent as they continued passive scans. Every new reading confirmed the same truth. Humans were extraordinary. The warship, with its reinforced corridors, integrated weapons, redundant systems, and highly trained crew, was only one example of their capacity. It was a terrifyingly efficient combination of engineering, training, and sheer willpower. Ji-Ho turned his gaze toward the drifting vessel. Despite damage, despite age, it remained alive and functioning. Every human on board was a testament to the species' resilience. It was not the biggest warship. It was not the strongest fleet. Yet it carried a force that could not be measured by traditional metrics. Hana finally spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. They are built to survive everything. Ji-Ho nodded slowly. And the galaxy will learn that the hard way. As they withdrew, the alien fleet carried with them an unsettling truth. Humans were not predictable. They did not fight for glory, nor for ease. They fought because they would not allow themselves to be defeated. And in that refusal to surrender, they had created a level of endurance that no other species could hope to match. As the alien fleet lingered near the human warship, a sudden signal blinked through the scanners. It was weak, but unmistakable. The humans were transmitting. Commander Ji-Ho's eyes narrowed. They had expected evasive or defensive maneuvers, not communication. The message was simple, clear, and calm. There was no threat, only a warning. Captain Daeun's voice came through, measured and direct. We are retreating from a larger conflict. Interference is not advised. For your own safety, do not engage. Ji-Ho felt a chill. The aliens had assumed the humans would respond with aggression. Instead, the message contained both a warning and a subtle display of control. It spoke volumes without showing force. This was not a bluff. It was an assertion that humans understood danger, and they expected others to respect it. Hana leaned over the scanner. They are damaged. The ship is retreating, yet the captain remains calm. His message implies they are willing to fight if necessary, but they choose caution. Sora added, there is a subtext. They are saying this is not their strongest force. We are seeing only a fraction of their capacity. They expect us to understand the implications. Ji-Ho recorded every detail. Prepare a full report. This is not a routine encounter. The humans are sending a message without firing a single weapon. That is far more dangerous than a mirage. The aliens observed as the warship slowly adjusted its course. Despite its damage, the vessel moved with purpose. Systems that should have been offline were online, sustaining navigation, life support, and power distribution. Every operation was controlled, deliberate, and efficient. It was clear the humans had rehearsed these responses, trained to continue functioning under extreme stress. Hana analyzed the energy readings. Even with damage, the ship can sustain all critical operations indefinitely. They have planned for system failure and injury. Every subsystem is redundant. They could survive assaults that would destroy our fleets. Ji-Ho's unease grew. This was no longer about understanding human engineering or endurance. This was about realizing the humans' philosophy of survival. Every decision, every repair, every minor adjustment had been calculated for one purpose: to keep the crew alive and the ship functional no matter the odds. So, R.A. studied the message again. Captain Daeun warns without aggression. He respects their own strength and expects others to recognize it. Humans do not need to threaten. Their actions, their endurance, and their presence are enough. Ji-Ho nodded. He understood. The human warship was not just a vessel. It was a demonstration of human resilience and strategic intelligence. It conveyed a message to the galaxy. Humans do not build warships to dominate in battle. They build them to endure wars. The threat was inherent, not explicit. The warning was in their preparation, their discipline, and their refusal to be defeated. The alien fleet continued passive observation. They noted that even in retreat, the humans maintained tactical readiness. Weapons were online, shields monitored, and every crew member alert. This was not fear or recklessness. It was training and discipline, a continuous state of preparedness that allowed them to act decisively if challenged. Hannah pointed out the smallest details. Notice the crew rotations. Even while retreating, every human is active at a station, monitoring systems, or preparing for repair. No one rests beyond what is necessary. They have conditioned themselves to function under stress indefinitely. Jiho felt the implications. Humans did not just survive battles, they survived in preparation for them, enduring conditions that would cripple any other species. Their approach to warfare was not about immediate dominance, but about unbroken persistence. Even when retreating, they retained full capability, presenting a level of threat far greater than the aliens had expected. Sora studied the crew's movement patterns. The humans coordinate without visible command centers. Distributed control allows them to adapt to damage instantly. They are a network. Each individual is part of a whole system. Losing one does not stop the others. Jiho exhaled slowly. They are not merely fighting machines. They are survivors perfected through practice, preparation, and willpower. The ship is a reflection of their mindset. The signal repeated once more, confirming the initial message. Captain Dae-yun remained calm, emphasizing their retreat, their caution, and their preparedness. The humans were damaged, but they carried the essence of the species' endurance. This was a fraction of what they could do, yet it was enough to terrify the alien observers. Hana recorded every observation. This is a psychological weapon as much as a physical one. They show restraint, discipline, and clarity. They convey threat without aggression. That is a strategy we have not encountered before. Jiho nodded grimly. Make sure the Council understands. Humans do not need to attack to control a situation. Their resilience and planning are sufficient to demand respect. The aliens watched the warship adjust its trajectory, slipping past contested territory with careful precision. It was damaged, but it moved as if nothing could stop it. Every system reinforced, every human prepared. The alien fleet understood then that even a retreating human vessel was a display of strategic power. The lesson was clear. Humans could endure and survive what others could not. And that endurance was their greatest weapon. Sora whispered, almost in awe. We are seeing what humanity is truly capable of. Even wounded, they are a force we cannot measure in conventional terms. Jiho agreed. And that is why the galaxy will fear them. Not because of firepower alone, but because humans refuse to surrender. They adapt, survive, and continue. That is something no technology can easily counter. Hannah continued monitoring. Captain Dae-yun's warning is simple yet profound. Avoid engagement. This is not a bluff. They are not threatening, they are demonstrating a fact. We underestimate them at our peril. Jiho sent the final message to the Council. His words were precise. The humans are extraordinary. They survive when others would perish. They endure when others flee. They adapt when others fail. Their warship, even damaged, is a testament to this. They are not to be underestimated. They are not to be ignored. The alien fleet slowly withdrew, carrying the data and the stark understanding of human capability. Even a damaged warship, crewed by a small number of humans, represented a level of endurance, strategy, and willpower that the galaxy had never seen before. The warning from Captain Dae-yun echoed in their minds. Humans were to be respected, not attacked lightly, for they would not easily be defeated. The alien fleet withdrew to a safe distance. their scanners still capturing the human warship's movements. Even at this range, the vessel appeared alive, purposeful, and unfaltering. Commander Jiho could not shake the impression that the humans were showing them something beyond mere technology. They were showing them the spirit of their species. The council had already been briefed on the preliminary scans and communications. Members debated fiercely, struggling to understand what they had witnessed. They had expected a fragile, possibly damaged human ship, yet this vessel had demonstrated endurance, adaptation, and discipline far beyond any known standard. Chi-Ho recorded the final observations from his team. The humans are not limited by conventional logic. They do not operate solely on strategy or numbers. Their strength lies in their endurance, adaptability, and willingness to face the impossible. Hana added, the ship itself is an extension of their mentality. Every corridor, every gravity chamber, every redundant system reflects their expectation of failure and their refusal to succumb to it. It is both machine and philosophy. Sora's analysis emphasized the psychological impact. Even if this is not the most powerful human vessel, the fact that a small crew can maintain continuous operational readiness for years without pause demonstrates a level of resilience that should be respected by every species in the galaxy. Jiho nodded solemnly. The galaxy must reconsider how it views humanity. Their ships are not built to dominate. They are built to endure. Their war doctrine focuses on survival, endurance, and adaptability. That is why we must treat them with caution and respect. The human warship, despite showing signs of age and battle damage, adjusted its trajectory to leave the disputed territory. Systems that should have been offline remained active, each one managed by a crew conditioned to anticipate failures and compensate immediately. The aliens observed as the humans optimized every function in real time, a constant demonstration of skill and discipline. Hana continued scanning. The humans have trained their bodies and minds to withstand conditions that would break any other species. Their endurance is not accidental. It is deliberate and perfected over generations. Their survival instinct is engineered into everything they do. Jiho reflected on the implications. A species capable of this level of preparation could not be measured by conventional metrics. Firepower alone would not define their strength. Strategy, speed, and numbers were irrelevant when faced with beings who refused to be defeated. SOR observed the distributed command systems. Even if key personnel are removed or incapacitated, the ship continues functioning. Decision-making is shared, responsibilities overlap, and adaptability is built into every system. They are a network of survival, not just a crew. The council members debated the possible outcomes. How could they confront a species whose philosophy was so radically different? Attacking a human vessel was not just a risk, it was almost a guarantee of unexpected consequences. The warship they had scanned was only a fragment of human potential, yet it had already demonstrated capabilities beyond their worst estimates. Jiho recorded a message for further dissemination. Humanity cannot be underestimated. Their vessels are engineered to survive assaults that would annihilate other fleets. Their crews are trained to endure extreme conditions indefinitely. They adapt, they compensate, and they refuse to surrender. They are not predictable. They are not conventional. And they will continue to exist and fight where others would fall. The human warship disappeared over the distant horizon of space, leaving behind a mixture of fear and respect. The alien fleet continued their patrol, but a new understanding had taken hold. Humans were not merely a species among many. They were a species that would endure, survive, and adapt no matter the circumstances. Hana whispered, almost to herself, they build ships to survive wars, not just battles. And they build themselves the same way. Jiho agreed, the weight of the realization heavy on his shoulders. The galaxy has seen many weapons, many fleets. But humans are different. They do not fight to dominate. They fight to continue. And in that, they are nearly unstoppable. The Council resolved to update their strategic assessments. Humanity would now be treated with extreme caution. Even a single warship, crewed by a handful of humans, represented a threat not because of sheer firepower, but because of endurance, adaptability, and willpower. The lesson was clear. Underestimate humans, and the consequences would be severe. As the alien fleet returned to the Coalition base, Jiho reflected on the scans, the communications, and the observations. The warship had been damaged. The crew had been few. Yet every system, every human, had performed flawlessly under stress. The galaxy had witnessed only a fraction of human capability, but it was enough to leave a lasting impression. This was the human way. Endure, survive, and never give up. Even the alien officers, veterans of countless conflicts, felt a new respect and perhaps fear for humanity. They had not faced humans in open combat, yet they understood now that these beings had already survived battles that would have destroyed many entire fleets. The endurance, the discipline, and the spirit of the humans were lessons that the galaxy would never forget. The human warship's final jump into unknown space marked the end of this encounter. But the impact of what had been observed would resonate across the Coalition for generations. Humanity had proven, even in retreat, that their resilience was their greatest weapon. It was not the technology alone, nor the firepower, but the unyielding will and preparation that made them a force unlike any other. The galaxy would think twice before ever challenging them again.